From Trinidad and Albania to real estate, Shaq and Kelly brings you Smart Money Approach. Hey guys, it's your boy Shaq
And this is Kelly.
with Smart Money Approach, and this is our first podcast ever in the history. Today we're going to be introducing ourselves, what we do, what we about, so that you, the world, can kind of know what we trying to head to. So basically, guys, who I am, right? My name is Shaquille Alexander. I'm currently living over here in Germany, stationed with the U.S. Army, and enjoying life. My background a bit further. I am originally from the Caribbean, the last island. Shout out Trinidad and Tobago. Hey, I'm saying TNT, one love. But yeah, that's who I am. Kelly, what about you? Tell us about yourself.
So my name is Kelly. I am 22 years old and I am currently living in Germany with Shaq. And I am originally from Albania. I am a student here in Germany, and together we are trying to start this podcast on real estate investing.
Exactly, and she has begun to cover the other topic. Why we do this podcast? Because basically, smart money approach, right? Basically, is about real estate, but it's about how we as a younger generation spend our money and time. And I can tell you, for my first 7 years in the army, I wasted my money and most of all my time. If I knew a quarter of what I know now, I would have probably been out of the army already. I'm not saying I don't like the army, but I'm just saying that if it was my choice, I'd probably be doing something else.
Mm-hmm. And for me, it was totally different. I was always somebody that would save my money to buy expensive stuff or something like that. And the reason that we are doing this podcast is to put ourselves out there and actually grow an audience and have people look at our journey and see how we went from 0 to 100.
Okay, now that brings us into our next part. So, our first time finding out about real estate. This is going to take me back to Trinidad. My family was always in the business venture. I have two uncles right now who is currently, one is in the real estate business and the other is real estate slash business. The older uncle owns several properties down in Trinidad, and I've seen him throughout the years either buy and sell or hold properties and basically have people living in there and getting some kind of capital from it. I didn't really think too much about it or didn't really ask him much because it wasn't really my forte. My other uncle now, I would say that he really took it and ran with it, because not did he just go into real estate, but I think he understood what Trinidad was going to need pretty soon. So not only housing he invested in, but he also invested in retirement homes. So now he owns several retirement homes throughout Trinidad because he knew that the baby boomers was basically going to need a place to stay really soon, and that the government would pay for their stay. And that's how I kind of first learned about real estate. I didn't know all of that back then, but I was seeing it without even knowing what I was seeing.
So for me, none of my family members were in a real estate investing or real estate business. So whenever they would talk about it, it would be something that I wasn't really interested in as a kid. I was mainly interested in being creative and I don't know, joining sports and stuff like that. So whenever they would talk about numbers, I would be like, nah, I'm out of here. No, thank you. So probably the first thing that I learned was we owned a house back home. So that would be our asset. Come right 2 days ago, I learned that it's not, and we're probably going to talk about that on the other episodes. But I maybe learned about real estate investing 2 to 3 years ago when I first moved to Germany, and it was through some entrepreneurs that would post videos online on real estate investing, on e-commerce. They would offer classes. I was a student, I still am. So at that point, I was I don't have the money. I don't have $1,000 to attend a class and maybe like I don't know how this is going. Like I don't know if I'm gonna gain something from it, but we realized that we you don't really need that in order to start doing something. So that's yeah.
True that. So moving into our next topic, right? Who do we go to learn more? First I will say like as a physical person that I know personally, and then I'll kind of get into the resources that I kind of go about getting from the internet or where there was another speaker. So the older uncle I told you about in the beginning of the story, basically he resides in America, and since I joined the army, he bought a house and flipped it. And I thought that was a good person to go and learn as much as I can from them to then get to where I want to be. So what I did was I first learned like, hey, what does he want? Because I realized and heard before, like when you go to somebody with your arms open, then they more see it as like not as you attempting to come empty-handed to them asking, but I realized if you bring some kind of tool to them to use in what they're trying to do, then they're more likely and receptive to help you. So I dig in to learn about the FHA 203K loan, which is a great opportunity if you can use it. Our later episodes, we're going to talk about that. And basically, I was going to use his cash to partner with the FHA loan to break into the real estate market. And we had it going on for 4 or 5 months, which is still a work in progress because different things keep on coming up and down. But now since I've spent that time talking to him on a daily basis about like what he knows, how he does it, I really learned so much by it. And I am really happy that I was able to gain that knowledge from him. Now, if I go off into basically talking about where I went to learn more, I will tag a couple names. First one is I tried reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. The next one was basically going on to Bigger Pockets. Wow, amazing website. So much things to do, so much information out there that sometimes you go in there and you just get lost. Flipster as well. I learned a lot from that, and I actually still use that to this day along with the Bigger Pockets to try to close on some deals. And then I also use David Peer podcast from Military to Millionaire. I also use that. So that's some of the things I use and I'm still using to this day to continue growing my knowledge on what I know about the real estate market and business.
Okay, so for me, I didn't really have a person to go to talk about this. I didn't know anybody that I knew that was in the business. So my go-to was basically the internet. Like there is literally no excuse on not to use it. You can ask whatever you want, you're gonna get your answer. So Flipster, Bigger Pockets, YouTube, you can literally YouTube and you're gonna see like videos on how to do this step by step. So
I mean, like to even like kind of chime over what Kelly is saying, really guys, so right now with the phone that she called in this video, with Kelly's phone, with her laptop, with my watch, all probably accumulated like $4,000. No shit, right? And if you ask us how often we actually use these things to actually make us money, probably just lately, you know what I'm saying? So here we have all this technology to our hands, to our reach, and we don't use it at all. So if you take anything out of this entire podcast, use your technology to your advantage. Your phone is just not for Instagram and Facebook, okay guys?
True that.
You want to lead off with the other one, Kelly?
Currently about to close a deal. Fingers crossed. We don't want to like talk too much into detail on like how much it was or like where it is. But it was a really good, let's say like starter property. That we think it's probably gonna like give us the most cash flow or profit.
Yeah, so she is right. It is gonna give it's our first one, yes, but though normally when you listen to other people's stories about their first, it isn't as we are going after. And some of y'all may be like, wow, like we can't wait to like eventually hear what it is, which y'all will once we close the deal. But whenever y'all do hear it, y'all may take a step back and be like, wow, why did they go after such a massive deal at first? And to kind of quote what Robert said in Rich Dad Poor Dad is basically when you see a opportunity approach you, you don't cower down by it, but you go after it. And a lot of us out here, including myself sometimes, let opportunities and chances go by us because we think the risk may be too big. And yeah, it is a risk, of course. But if you go into it with that mindset or keep that mindset, you're going to let all those risks that is actually assets go right by you. So stay tuned, guys. Trust and believe. We're going to have like a bigger picture right here. We're going to do something crazy to celebrate that win.
What are the obstacles that we face during this journey?
Okay, so like we said, guys, we are both over here in Germany and we attempted to invest in America. The first thing is the time zones.
A lot of late nights.
Exactly. So we wake up early. Our day starts at we try to start our day like around 8, like sometimes. And when we do, it's great. We're still getting better at that. But basically, we work all day, like probably from 8 until 3 p.m. our time, preparing for the East Coast market to open. Most businesses and people start answering their phone at 9. So we have from 8 till 5. We try to utilize that time by like basically writing down what we need to do and like getting all our numbers and who we need to call, because since you're over here and everybody's over there, basically you need a solid team built around whichever state you are in. And since we were hopping from state to state to state to state until like we actually like locked down a particular area and state we wanted to invest to, we were making, it seems like hundreds of calls. So until like I'm gonna have like Kelly kind of talk to you all about how it is from her side, you and me doing that, and then I'm gonna tell you how detrimental it was from having Kelly by my side to help me through it.
Okay, so when Shaq first told me about it, I was really excited. Like, I've heard about it before, and this was like finally a moment where we could go into this together and actually make it a reality. It was really hard for us to find people that were in the area, since we like change states pretty constantly, to like know like maybe this is the one deal for us, maybe this one should be our first deal. So that was like a really hard part on the real estate stuff. Also probably the, I don't know.
So to kind of pick up where Kelly left off, when we were going to these different states from state to state, right? We were actually going after the seller's agent. While we were watching some clips of videos, we realized like, hey, if we go after the seller agent and try to cut them in on the pie, they were more likely to help us and work with us. And that's how we actually came around finding this deal. So basically, it wasn't even this particular house we were looking at or place, it was actually another one. So we started talking to the agent we were currently working with on another deal, and we realized, hey, that isn't what we should go after. And we came up on this deal that we're about to close right now. And basically, she's been there since like all the way. And apparently, she's well known in the area. So from that network right there, she can connect us to the appraiser, to the general contractor, to everybody else in the area that we need to know. And also, I guess everything happens for a reason. I have a soldier right now who's actually from the same exact area. And I didn't remember that until we actually looked into that area. So I've also been using him as a great source to network around there as well.
It's a great way to see like how like what place the property is in, because it's really hard to look at all these properties online, guys. Like, we had a viewing of the place like virtually through FaceTime, so that was like really different from what you see in the pictures.
Yes, that's totally strange. So now to kind of like move on to building up the team, so to say. With us, we also have one of my really good friends, Corey, who is actually sitting in and kind of like watching us go through what we're going through right now. So that way, once he comes up with his first deal or to his first deal, then he would know like what to expect and how to expect it. And plus two, I will be there along with Kelly to guide him. So that's also like being a learning process for us and him as well, because since this is our first time, how we would learn it, we didn't have to now turn it into a product to explain it and also like point him in the right direction as well. So that's also being a challenge as well. To talk the last thing about being over here and trying to invest over there is basically you need a United States number. Yo, so funny story, guys. Hopefully you watch us dad to this point and you get a good laugh out of it. At first, guys, I attempted to use my dad's number without even letting him know.
That's not good.
So, I basically used his number to log into my Skype and then like call people from my Skype using his number so that they will see an American number. Because all the time before, when they were seeing a German number calling, no love at all. Ignore, to voicemail, no love at all. So once I started using an American number, I saw like people was answering it for much more. Mm-hmm. The bad thing was though, I didn't inform my dad at all that I can't use his number. So my dad got a call from a prior agent we were working with out in Wisconsin. Yeah. And she called him and he was kind of confused. But I've done this before with Ask Him, so he played it to where we still succeeded. But then he called me and was like, Shaq, you use my number to do this and that? I was like, I did. He was like, why didn't you tell me? I just cursed this lady out. I just told her this, that, the other. I was like, no. He was like, yeah. Luckily, guys, he was playing with me. He wanted to teach me a lesson of basically like, hey, if you're going to do something or use somebody in a particular way, give them a heads up so that they can be better prepared for it. But what I also learned from that is as well, that point, and also I need my own number to tag along. So me and Kelly got into some research and basically we found a Skype number that we have been using from this time. And not to brag or nothing like that, but we found a place in America called Trinidad, and that's where the zip code comes from, Colorado, Trinidad.
Yeah. I mean, I understand your dad, like, having somebody just call you randomly and be saying something like, I got pictures of your place and stuff like that. So that's probably, yeah, you should probably told your dad about it.
Definitely. Well, guys, so that's it for today. And what you can look forward to next time, we're hoping to start bringing on some guest speakers. But before that, episode 2 is going to be talking about closing our first deal. And we're going to get into some more of the specifics and more in-depth details on what we have to go through to close this deal.
It was really nice to talk to you guys. Thank you for watching our first episode of the podcast.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Please subscribe down below. Let's go.
Get ready for the bloopers.
I'm sorry. I suck. What? Okay, I'm gonna start from the beginning. Okay? You're gonna cut it. Stop looking at me. Look at the camera.
Like we having a conversation.
We are? So
Yeah.
I'm supposed to look at you?
We have, like, yeah, like it's a conversation, like an introduction. Go ahead. Okay, 1, 2, 3, start.